So imagine, a great musical background script that I could possibly have it pass the time where I can flexible be able to get into things that my grandchildren are doing. Unbelievable. So well, I'm still back here in the Stone Age. And so therefore imagine that there's a beautiful introduction to the words of Shimon Khan. So here we're going to read them across the top here. Bring this down a little more, be a little bit better, see if I can get better light on it. It says like the Elun Inan Nishmasim the Elun Maskilin. So he talked about these. These are the neshamas of these Maskilin. And first that is his cover. The Maskil less religion seichel is people that are able to tune into that river that we were talking about before. This becomes seichel ish the moidach of the Barechin, so they can enter into the world of secrets of their master. Uhu Rishimin and Tsoyam the Malkusa the Vikia. This is the part that we've been working over. All of them are implanted or impressed, that's the right word really, and formed the Malkusa the Vikia Kokochovai the Naharan Bevikia. So the translation is they're formed up, what we said before, of the Malchus of the Vikia, that is the Yesod of Malchus. That's what I think he meant. We'll see. Kokochovai the Naharan Bevikia, and they shine over here like this, like the stars that are shining in the heaven. Behind the Yaskira, the Zohar Rakia. So we've seen that phrase before. And it's a Lashon Zohar, right? So that is, you see, should shine out like the Zohar of the Rakia. He said several times. So he's mixed around a little bit between the Malchus, between the Yesod of Malchus and the Yesod of Zeranpin. But at any rate, the concept of Rakia, he means Sod. What's a Sod? It's a fountain. This is the place where everything meets and everything pours out towards in the direction of counterpart, which is the female. Here are these two Yesodas. And he says that inside of it is something shining like the stars. Yaskira Kazor Rakia, my Rakia. Now he says over here, what does Rakia mean? The Harim Bay, that they're shining in it. Nishbasim the Maskilim Kokochovaya. Those are the neshamas of these Maskilim, the people that are able to plug into this river of Sod. And they shine like the stars, or here, in the heavens of above. Harim Bakarsia. Then the last part is, and they shine on Rome. Sounds like Malchus that we're picking up here. So I'm going to back to where my note says I should go. And it says start here, that was 9 LO. I skipped 10 LO. Today is 11 LO. And let's go over here to Kuhu Neshamas called Tzadikim or Eloch Shenivlu Meyichud Elyon. Now he must have said something about that, but he says that the Tzadikim themselves that we're talking about. I'm just trying to think through this a little bit. He says it's a yichud from a very, very high place that takes place that produces those neshamas. To understand there's only one Ein Sof Baruch Hu. And there is only I gotta kind of edit this. That last part of the only. There's only one Ein Sof Baruch Hu. The Yehudim that we're talking about are designed to bring the Shafa of the Ein Sof Baruch Hu into this world. And they go to different places. And depending on where the Yichud takes place, and we've been learning that over in the Kriya Shema, it has a tremendous amount to do with what's inside of the person themselves. The kavanah of someone in your past or you yourself has brought you to this position if you're listening to this. So what I think he's saying. The origin of the light is always the same. But it's necessary for the light to be dressed from different places and coming into us. So he said, and some of us get the light from one place, some from another place. Perhaps that's an explanation. So he says, Kuhu neshamo shal tzadikim ha'elu shenivlu miyichud elyon. Rishimin and mitzuyarim, they are formed up, they are impressed and formed. Hein haneshamos and mitzuyarim umukubalin umukablos tzorosom. That received that light. Now we're going to go down and we'll look at this. This is an Ian Dikashir. Pull this forward a little bit. This is really a nice little contraption. I haven't broken it yet. So he says, number hey. He says, Reha Ramak. Look at the Ramak. Shemavdil ben shtei bechinas reshimin and mitzuyarim. So let's go back to the pasuk, back up above here. It says reshimin and mitzuyarim hem neshamot and mitzuyaros. Why do you need both of those? So he says, Harishimo he b'yesod v'chatzir b'malchus. He says where the rishima, which is a stamp or impression, takes place in Yesod, and where it forms up and becomes more, my words, more physical, that would be in Malchus. And this is his language. He said, V'hem shtei bechinos, Rishon he mitzios dak v'nikra rishimo. So the first is, I guess it's a situation which is very, very thin. And it's called by the name of Rishimo Larov Dakos, because why it's Rishimo? It's not the thing itself, it's just an impression of it. Because it's only an impression. But seer, on the other hand, this is a second aspect. Nigla Yosem Rishimo, and it's more physical, and as a result of that, you could see it, he says, revealed more than the Rishimo. The Rishimo is almost nothing, because the entity that made the stamp is not there, just the result. But on the other hand, Malchus is where it actually becomes formation. So therefore, when you talk about neshamos, and we've been talking about Benimius and Gizonius, he says, one of them is a Rishima. It's very thin. That's in the Yesod. Because there in the Yesod, what you have there is there really only a zera. Now, what does he mean by that? It means a zera by itself is just a prototype, but it's not the finished product. Hamdan b'nekev, when you get to the female aspect, shehar malchus is malchus, mitztayrim tzir be'etzem. There you're really going to the root of the concept of forming something, of making something. So he said, inyan hazerach hamitztayr bebet ha'malaya. So this is like the seed that is formed up in the womb, which is full. This is why the Rishimo Mitzuyarim, that's the reason by Rishima and Mitzuyarim. So first it appears in Yesod, and then in Malchus, Sir v'Malchus v'Rishima b'Yesod b'Rakia. Kihu al pi darko meforish as a teva Rakia. So according to his way of looking at it, there's an explanation of that. Yesod their anpin behind Shah. Let's go on a little bit more after that. Another few minutes, and let's see what we're doing here. We read to number Hey, Rishima B'Tziyarim, and we heard a word on that. And now we're going to go, let's say, I'm sorry that I forget to bring the book down. Hey, Nishamos, Umitziyaras, and Makablos, Tzarasa. Hayadesha, Niknasuch, the Ivor, because they go into the state of Ivor, which is conception or what's insemination. So let's come down here. What do you mean by that? He says, Rei B'Kisei Malach. Look over there, he says. He says, She Metzayin, he points out, as Man Shenoidib that is known in regard from the Ksavim, Sheneshamat Zadigim, Shemekorim B'Yesod Zer Anpin. So really, really righteous, good people. The root, their root, from the Yesod of Zer Anpin, Haim Olim B'Sod Man, they go up from that place, rise up in Mayim Nukvin. In Mayim Nukvin is always a plea. L'Shorshim Elyon, to their upper root, Al Derek Shezun Olim B'Sod Man, which is the same way as we say in other ways of a Yehudim between Zohar and Nuk. produces mayim nukrin that go up to Abba Be'ima L'orer Yehudim in order to arouse a yichud between Abba and Ima. Hey, neshamas Eila Tzadikim. Now let's look at the neshamas of the Tzadikim, he said. Olim Lamala B'Mesiras Nafsham B'Sod Man. They go up above in the concept of really self-sacrifice of their souls. B'Sod Man. Now, if you know a little bit about the Rishash, then you'll see the Rishash as in the Kriya Shema and at several other places. The concept of the Arba Mitzvah is based in the concept of sacrificing yourself. They cause as a result of that, they arouse a yichud between Kudsha Baruch Hu and the Shechina. Malchusa the Rakia Kamosha Zer Anten Ola B'Yesod Bina. Now let's go over this a little bit slower. Let me go back. He says, Kain Neshamos Ela Tzadikim Olam B'Mala B'Mesiras Nafsham B'Sod Man. When they go up, they cause as a result of that Zohar v'nuk to make a yichud, and then this is his language. He said, in other words, the prayer. When he uses the word tzaddikim, I always think that in Kabbalah, we're talking about a person who does acts of the tzaddikim. So I think it's been, we have leaders, a lot of Hasidic leaders and all different kinds of leaders, which people put the label Tzaddikim on them as very possibly true. I'm not saying it's not true. But the same token, even common people, that's why I want to think are Tzaddikim too. Because they show up in shul, and they do pray. Maybe their prayers are not so great. But on the other hand, that's tzidkus. That is an offering to God. Coming in there, you're doing it, you're bringing your stuff, you're making it. That's a big thing. That's also tzidkus. Because when they say something like the neshamas of tzaddikim, all right, different interpretations, that's mine. The malchusach of the rukiya kamosha zah ola b'yesod bina. That zah is the parts of immediate below bina. So in one way, let me just read it. It's not what I thought. Kamosha Zah Ola B'Yesod Bina. She goes into the Yesod of Bina, which is the same thing as Bina going into Zah. That the Yesod of Zina going into Zah. Yesod Man. But here is not the movement from the top to the bottom, which is Bina going to the Zah. This is the concept of Zah raising himself in Mayim Nukvin, those pleas. Kadei Sha'al Yada Yizdaveg Abba Ve'ima, so that through that there could become a yichud between Abba Ve'ima. Kain Neshamas Eloch Tzadikim, so the same thing about the Neshamas of the Tzadikim. Olam B'Sod Man, they go up in Man B'Yesod Malchus Kadei the Yizdaveg Im Zer Anpen Ayin Khan, in order to be able to go over there to make that same yichud with Zer Anpen. Let's just read one more, and we'll go take that'll be it. So we went on, he said, the B'Shimin, the Mitsuyarim, we heard Baruch on that, the Malchusa, the Rikiya. So we got to this word, Malchusa, the Rikiya. The Yesod Shal Malchus, and it winds up in the Yesod of Malchus, and that's where we're at right now. What do you mean? He said, Al Pi Aber L'Chai Rawi V'Zel L'Shama. In the Neshamas of the Dike B'Bacha Mezivuk Elyon, Vein Nigbar B'Shulam Ad Shemis Arbesh Misaveres Mehem HaMalchus. Let's read the words again. He says the Neshamas of the Deacon, they come as a result of a yichud that comes from a very high place. He doesn't say what he means by this, but yichud Elyon, but it's the yichud that takes place in Olam Atzilus. They nigba b'shulam, but they don't become mature. Ad shemis averes mehem hamalchus, until malchus becomes inseminated by them. He mekabelas osam yesod zer anpen, because she receives these neshamos through. Understand, neshamas also means panemius, the quality of the panemius. So he says, "Shemis averes mehem malchus kihi mekabelas osachol b'yesod zer anpen." She receives them from the yesod zer anpen. The yesoda in her yesod, from his yesod goes to her yesod. V'sham Yesodot Malchus, and there, when you reach that place, Nikra Rakia, which is called a Nikra Rakia, which is called this Yesod, her Yesod, is called Rakia. Sham Nigmarim, that's when they actually become ripened or matured. Yeah. And beside the Eitz Chaim, so we'll see over this in the Eitz Chaim, Al Bir Maimer Tikunim, so we're talking about the Tikunim, Kom, Rebbe Shimon, the Omer Saba, I'm showing you, go over there. It's a whole other piece. And that's the Torah here in the Tikunei Zohar, looking into it a little bit deeper. This is the Hokdama. Look at the top over here again. This is the Hakama. We're on, you see where it is? It's on the very first stop. It's on the very first page. This is Bar Flashman at the Tikkun elevator.